because the ethnographic research, the field research, that you have to go to the field, prepare the sample, questionnaires, and you have to interact with the people out there, then come out with you, and after the what I call the data analysis, you write the story, write the central thing on the pertaining to particular issue. But the quality research and the interpretivist, they always overlap. The problem basically facing the youngsters is they will write about, okay, that is hermeneutical methods, but they basically rely on the qualitative method. That is, relying on the secondary sources, the sources already available to them in the internet or several books and articles, which purpose of these is to prove something or disprove something. But the purpose of hermeneutics is not to prove or disprove, to understand why a specific story has been written in this way. You get a point? For example, the idea of India, I'll take 2 minutes, I'll just give you a very good illustration. The way it has been, what I call, paddled to us over the decades since independence, then you need to find out what are the essential basis of this idea of India. That is, the Nehruvian consensus. What is the centerpiece of the Nehruvian consensus? It's called ethical modernity. Ethical modernity means you try to if the Western technology, science technology, while remain rooted in your civilization history. Again, so there comes the basic. You try to ape or adapt the Western technology. At the same time, you try to remain rooted to your own culture, forgetting the inevitable consequence of adoption of Western technology on your behavior, thereby undermining the roots on which you are trying to stand up. So there comes the problem. If you recall this, the famous, very quite popular book by Partha Chatterjee, okay, the derivative part of it, okay, where it talks about the problematic and thematic. There he highlights a dilemma. The dilemma essentially stems from this kind of dualism, which constitutes the basis of the Nehruvian concept of post-independence idea of India. So we are trying to deconstruct that idea, and we are trying to say that this land is a continuity of civilization. It didn't emerge in 1947. It did exist before. It is a compact geocultural entity. You may agree, may not agree. So in a way, this is a kind of contestation of the prevalent, dominant idea of India, so far we have been taught and trained to believe in. So that's one example I'm giving. Because of this contestation, you have the problems. And the problem in JNU also partly product of that. So now, here, this is the way you need to carry out the research. Why I'm saying any idea is not fixed. In social science, that remains a challenge to all young social scientists to continue the effort to contest everything what has been termed as given. So that is the purpose of the prime objective of any social inquiry. This comes in the category of what I say, interpretivist methodology, because the purpose is to interpret what is taken as the final or the ultimate truth, because you are challenging something through your new interpretation and by contextualizing the specific phenomenon based on your own experiences. That's one aspect. And second aspect, which is a very conventional kind of methodology, but then here also confusion comes. The 2 minutes. One is, somebody mentioned about the experimental research. Second is explorative research. Third is explanatory research. All this comes under positivism. Experimental, last related to psychology. Explorative regarding policy. And explanatory regarding whatever happened before. You are trying to explain why it happened. The question comes to why. So, and three, explorative means what, and of course there is another one that's called the normative research. But here basically you talk about this great ideals. Ye hota to acha hota, ये होना चाहिए. You know, a lot of people, you know, tend to be quite preachy. So that also is their part of the social science research, which is considered the ideal, the best, normal, not achievable. But still you have that set of ideals in mind which guide your entire social inquiry. So in a way, one, explanatory, experimental, explorative, and finally normative. All these four categories come under the broader nomenclature of the umbrella called the positivism. The less interpretivist is something related to post-positivism. Thank you very much. I hope I try to clear some of this confusion in the mind. Thank you very much for your attention.